Yo guys, I hope you're all doing well. So I'm back for part 2 of my track breakdown of my remix of Arteriacs by DeAngelis, which is out today. So make sure you go and cop it right now. The link is below. But without further ado, let's jump into Ableton and see how I arrange this one. Kick. So if you haven't watched the previous video, what I'll just quickly do is play the breakdown before we start looking at how I've done it and thought processes and methods behind it. So, pretty simple breakdown. The whole premise behind the track was just to keep it really rolling and really energetic. The intro kind of sums it up. If I just play this sort of section here, I just drop the bass in after 8 bars, no messing about. I really wanted just to keep that pace throughout because, in a sense, it's fairly stripped back. It's just the kick, bass, drums and some vocals. It was really important to keep that energy throughout without too many new elements coming in and out of the track. If we go back to the original breakdown, or the main breakdown, what we've got going on is we have this transition section here where we have the vocal helping the sort of flow between the beat playing and then going into this breakdown. And all I've done here is just delayed where the kick comes in by a bar. This just felt a bit more natural. It felt like it flowed quite well in the track, mainly because we have the tail of the reverb and the echo sort of going off, so helps feel like the track's breaking down and then the kick comes in as a bit of a surprise. Gotten rid of a lot of the drums in this section here just to cut that energy so I can really help ramp it back up before the drop. So then going from 109 to 113, we have the vocal reintroduced and the bass cut. What you always want to think about when arranging is almost distracting the listener. So what I mean by that is you want to have something that kind of distracts the listener from the obvious thing happening. So in that section of the track that we just looked at, the obvious change was the bass coming out. Now, if we just had the bass cut out with nothing else there, it would have been a bit abrupt and the listener would have noticed. But because we had the bass come out and the vocal come in, we suddenly didn't even think about the bass coming out because our attention was drawn to the vocal. So if you can really think about this where between the transitions of different sections of your track and the breakdowns, it can make a really seamless track and it have a very natural flow to it. Sorry to interrupt this video, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm now offering specialised one-to-one tuition online via Zoom. You can book in via my website, where you can also have a look at my other services, including mastering, mixdowns, mixdown and masters combined at a discounted rate, sample packs and templates. If you have any questions, just drop me an email within the forum or drop me a message on Instagram as well. I look forward to working with you and helping level up your music. So going into 113 and 117, we reintroduce some of the drums. This just helps pick up the energy again and perceives for listeners that something's going to happen, that, you know, we're going into that build up stage. Vocals still there, but just in the background, so I've put a filter on it now. This just helps build the tension by putting a filter on it, stripping away some of the frequencies. It gives us more stuff to play around with as we build up into the build, which starts at 121. So now we start entering the real sort of build and the tension section of the track between 121 and 129. Before we jump into that, this section here, 117 to 121, we have a bit of automation going on within the bass line. Obviously that vocal filtering up, as we were just talking about. Some automation is occurring on the drums. If we open this one up, we've got a bit of reverb starting to build up in tension. And when we get down to the sound effects, you can see the risers and sound effects are starting to build in this section too. So going into 121 and 129, where we're really starting to build, we have the introduction of the filtered snare roll, which really starts to become a bit more apparent. We have the kick fills up the top here, and the baseline intensity of the automation really starts to build up into 128, where we drop away for the vocal to sort of take place. Within the drums, it sounds like there's a lot going on in there, but it's really not. We have some reverb automation going on here from the large space chorus, which is send and return F. I've automated the room size. For any of you that have used the Pioneer mixers, you can know when you're using the reverb, you can play with the timing part, which shortens the reverb or kind of elongates it. Same effect goes on when you change the room size in the stock Ableton reverb. Can really just help create a natural kind of transition, but really where the movement's coming from is the filter. So we haven't got just a straight linear filter, it kind of comes up and then bops back down. I won't lie, this was actually a happy accident within the track. I didn't intend on doing it, but when I listened back to it, I thought, you know what, that sounds really cool. Going down through the rest of the track, we have our hats, which is being sent to send and return D, which is FabFilter Saturn, which creates those glitch stutters, as we just heard. Textures, no automation going on there, they're just staying as they are. As we go into the glitch, we have no effects on these. That's probably an accident on my behalf. Probably should have some center returns on there. Synths, we build up a bit of reverb just to help that tension again. I like doing all of this manually, either on individual elements or on groups. Just gives me that freedom and control I want. Doing it on the master chain is very much like you're DJing, where you push the whole mix with the reverb. But if I do it individually or as on groups, as I've been doing here, just gives me that freedom, so I can go, okay, I don't want too much reverb on this, or I really want to push a reverb on other things. We then have sub boom bass creating a riser. This has just been created using the original bass preset and automating the filter envelope to help increase that intensity. The vocals, we have a vocal repeated, as we looked at in the previous video. So this has echo, a bandpass filter on it, and I have mucked around with the preserve settings inside the audio file itself. Then we just got some very standard effects. White noise again, filtered snare roll, and some other sound effects that we looked at in the previous video. So overall, it's really just a case of the bass building up in intensity as I automate the cutoff, as I automate the filter envelope, which helps sort of really push things. Combined with sender return effects and some filter automation, we get quite a lively build section dropping perfectly into the vocal. So we cut the tension, we have the vocal, which is the standout part of the track. I really want people to sort of remember the track by this vocal, and then we go right back into the beat. Because the track is very stripped back, I've really emphasized creating quite unique fills that stand out. So example, this one here, I've removed the kick, and then stereotypically you would drop the bass back in on 1-4-5. But if we just listen to this one, you can see what I've done just to kind of add a bit more of a unique flair to it and put my own touch on things. Comes in as quite a surprise, and it sounds really unique. This is something I've been doing in my tracks for quite a long time now, but I've really emphasized this in the tracks which are a bit more simple and stripped back, like this one. The more simple and stripped back it is, the more you need to have these kind of cutouts and drops, just because the track can become a bit boring else if it's just rolling along with no interesting fills or anything to really catch the listener's interest. And there we go, that is the end of that video there. Nice short and sweet one, but straight to the point. I hope you guys found that one useful. Please comment below what you would like to see next on this channel, and I will see you very soon.